Welcome all. I see there are many women here. You have left the men at home. You can tell them about it later so they improve their lives. And that way you help them live better. Everybody is fine. We're going to start right now. We're going to have a lot to talk about, many things, and at the end we will do a small meditation to connect. We're going to be talking about beyond this life. There are many aspects of this. And where we're situated in this life, that we have to talk about beyond this life. So that the reality of that this lifetime is not enough. So we have to look beyond what is there. And in reality we have to be looking more at what is outside life to what is inside this life. Because the power that is beyond this life is crucial for the life we're going to live here. Our consciousness is not fully in this life. Only a very small part of our consciousness is here, incarnated in the body. The reality is that all of our consciousness of our being, which is a huge being, doesn't fit inside the body in this life. The greatest part of our being is outside the body. Many of you might know this, but many might not know this. So what happens with the parts of ourselves that is outside the body? We have to get in good terms with it. And we will see what happens with that and why it is so important to have that experience of what is beyond our life. Because it will change the part of our lives that it is here. First thing we're gonna see is what is life. We can see that life is an opportunity. But an opportunity of what? In one of my books says life is the evolutionary opportunity to acquire your highest consciousness. How does that sound? Sounds good? But really, are we making the most of this opportunity we call life to acquire our highest consciousness in this life? Or are we just living automatically by default, without thinking about things? And we don't think many days of our lives that we have in our hands is a huge opportunity to connect with what is beyond this life, that is going to bring us great benefits and experiences, and especially connection. Let's see the facts. We have a soul, which in Sanskrit, the state of this soul is called Satchitananda, which is Sat is truth, Chit is consciousness, and Ananda is bliss. And this means our soul is in peace. Because to be in truth, consciousness, and joy is to be in peace. And that is the true natural state of the soul. But are we experiencing this state? Or what are we experiencing in our lives? A separation from this state. How many people can we find in humanity that is in this state of Satchitananda, consciousness, truth, and joy? Or are you living this every day? Let's see a show of hands. Not bad. But are you living this permanently? The truth of the state of your soul, truth, consciousness, and bliss. I said it very clearly every day. I know at some point or another you can be experiencing this, but I mean 24 hours a day, permanently. This is the point. Are we experiencing this or a separation? We are experiencing a separation from this state. We have a self in this life which is separated from the state of our soul. What happens? That we're in a process of life in which the soul acquires a physical self for a mission. And look at that. When I was coming to the conference this afternoon, I saw the people in the street in the shops, people moving, going to places. And I saw a general vision of humanity, as if I could take a picture of humanity from the distance. And what came to me was that if we were in this life with all our spiritual power, that which is outside the body, and we had all those soul gifts, wisdom, power, joy in this life, it wouldn't be a challenge. We would be superheroes. And we would be full of incredible powers. And we could do everything without a limit. So what would be the point of coming here? It makes you think. What does that mean? That we're coming here because we're coming on a mission. To have an experience, and we leave behind a part of ourselves. Otherwise, what is the point of coming? And it wouldn't be a mission, it would be the same we were doing before coming here. We don't have to come to a place where we are experiencing all our power, as naturally we do, and it wouldn't be any challenge for us. But the soul comes into this level saying, I'm going to go into a mission and I'm not going to be able to use all my power, so therefore I'm going to experience a challenge. Because if I don't have a challenge, I don't have growth here. So all those powers and faculties of the soul, which are limitless, stay outside. But let's not make the mistake of thinking that because we are limited here, our soul is limited. That is something else. Here we acquire a physical self to enter into this dimension, which is different to the state of Satchitananda, natural state of the soul. And this virtual self that we encounter here is made up of a body, a personality, and circumstances that goes into a mission where the soul has agreed to some events to enter into some level of evolution. Those challenges are to enter into the body, which is limitation, to be born in amnesia, because the soul has forgotten who it is. That is Satchitananda, which is God consciousness. Forgets the life mission, has agreed to have when coming here. That's why it enters into amnesia and forgets what it came here to do. When the soul comes into life, into this body, it knew it was going to forget all that. So look at the story how it is. The soul comes, knows what it's going to find, and it knows what it's going to forget. The reason why it came here in the first place. Because it doesn't remember anything, acquires a layers of personality, physical habits, patterns that configurates a fictitious self, which is acquired, that doesn't have anything to do with the divine self, the divine identity it really is, which is Satchitananda, truth, consciousness, and bliss. What happens with all this is that the soul acquires a personal history through the different personalities that it goes on developing. And that personal story is conditioning the soul because the consciousness believes that is its truth. Shamans say, living a personal story, thinking that it is real. So the deceived consciousness enters into the world, believing that is the truth, and where is the mission gone about evolution, learning, and challenges that it wanted to get involved with when it came here? Where is this mission? The question we have to ask ourselves is, what has the soul come to do in this life? What has my soul come to do here, in this self that I have become down here? This fictitious identity, which is a virtual identity that belongs to this level of consciousness. This is the question that we have to ask ourselves. There is a purpose. in life. Otherwise, we wouldn't come here. A specific purpose, a mission. Let's look at what is this mission. To learn some lessons that will help us to evolve and grow our consciousness. To get rid of karma, the pending karma from the past. But the karma we have created in other lives give us the opportunity to make other choices. And therefore, to redirect our lives and to make more aligned choices with the purpose of the soul. And remembering that the soul is God and all the illusion is a fictitious drama. If I can remember as an incarnated soul that whatever happens in this illusion, I am still divine consciousness, I made it. I have overcome the challenge of illusion. Remembering that the soul is God, very important. This is the purpose of the incarnated soul. In a very clear way, it has to do with love. The soul as divine consciousness enters into having an experience of love. And it will try through the experiences to function as God, as love, as an individual consciousness. The function of God is love. And that means loving. So the soul, through all the limitations, aims at continuing functioning as God, love. That is the challenge, to keep that consciousness going, because that is its essence. Every one of us is divine consciousness, God individualized in a person, with all the divine attributes and all the divine powers. If we know that or not, that is another thing. If we are experiencing this or not. So the soul lives believing the illusion and the relativity of this reality, and forgetting who it is, and the aim is to remember that it is still God, independently of the illusion and the drama that is living. If you can stay inside of yourself, and you can do that today, it doesn't matter what is happening in my life. What is important is who I am. Apart from the challenges that I'm experiencing every day, and I stay inside myself, focus on the truth. In spite of everything, I remember that I am God. If you can sustain that, you have done a huge evolutionary step. So don't let the illusion and the drama that can surround you in any moment make you think that it is real and make you forget that you are this divine spark of light and love. This is the important thing, that you stay in that place. So let's take a step beyond now from all this. Beyond this life, what is there? A lot of people that has gone beyond this life and come back has had a number of experiences, and they are all the same. People that don't know each other, but they all went beyond and they all talk about the same experience. Almost everyone, all of them say they left the body and they saw their body from outside. All say that. They see the people around the body. It might be in a hospital where they enter into a coma, or they had an accident and they see their body there and they see everything from outside. The people, the family, the doctors. But they are outside the body. After that experience, they go through a tunnel, so they leave the physical plane in a journey and they go through a tunnel. And at the end of the tunnel they see a light. When they enter this light, they find a being of light. A lot of people identify this being of light with Jesus or with someone else, according to the religious background or the culture. They have acquired some identity with the spiritual figures. All the people that have gone and have come back, they have connected with this and have found this experience. All of them. Satchitananda. That is the experience of the soul. When the soul leaves the body and sees all that situation, goes through the tunnel and reaches the light, all of them say to experience an amazing bliss and an incredible peace, Satchitananda, which we said it was consciousness, truth, and bliss. So when the soul leaves the body, experiences again its natural state of being. Consciousness, truth, and joy. If that is a natural state of the soul of everyone, this is why it is happening. Sometimes people are clinically dead in the hospital and the doctors revive them. And many times they achieve that revival. And some people have spoken to the doctors many times and they find that when the patient awakens from death, they start complaining to the doctors for bringing them back because they were so well, so happy in the other side that they didn't want to come back. So when people go and come back and explain that that is the experience, that means a lot to us. We see through many doctors that have worked with regressions to past life in people, they started finding that in that process people were experiencing the time between lives. They started going into that space of time. And they saw, through investigation in many cases, that the souls were before a panel of masters in that space when they left the life here, before going on. Those masters were evaluating the life the person had on this earth. And in that revision of life, then the soul finds itself planning its next life, choosing a new body, looking at the lessons they're going to encounter and the circumstances in which that life is going to be developed. And they make evolutional choices for a new incarnation. These professional people doing regressions have said that the souls go through these experiences also, without going beyond this life, just doing the regression. Once I had the opportunity to listen to a radio program where there were precisely a panel of people talking that they have had experience beyond this lifetime, what is called the near-death experiences. And they were all talking about their own experience. And they commented on the experiences they had. And there was a woman that was commenting that when she left, imagine that she literally leaves her body and the soul goes away, and she went through all this and found herself in other planes and found this panel of masters. She was before them and they were talking about this life. And the masters told her, do you remember that situation in which you were in a train station and you were waiting for the train and it didn't arrive? And they say to her, that was the important moment. And they say to her again, do you remember another situation in which you were in such a place and you were doing nothing, you were like waiting? That was the important moment. So that which we here don't value and we consider an absolute waste of time, like waiting for a train that is delayed, in the spiritual world, that is considered like the most important moment. Why? Doing nothing, and nonetheless it was the important moment. Because they were connected. Important is not the personal story acquired in this life that we so much value, and that with so much effort, energy and time we are trying to keep alive, to make it stronger and to believe in it. A shaman would say, get rid of it right now. All your personal history and all your false identity doesn't mean anything, because it doesn't allow you to access the parallel reality. We are in 3D with its limitations and problems, and we believe we are that history. But in this occasion in which we're talking about this woman that went beyond this life, she got rid of personal story And they told her that those moments were important because she was outside of her personal history, because she wasn't anywhere in her mind, she was just connected. And there was a connection with the higher self, which is the most important thing in this life. So it's a huge difference in what we value and what the Spirit values and looks into our lives. At that moment in which the person is connected, the personal history is disconnected. And therefore, the person is not in the worries, limitations, feelings of lack, because I'm not doing anything, and therefore I'm at peace and I'm connected with the reality. What? The reality beyond this life. Because that allows me a communication, maybe not conscious but real, with the higher self and with the peace that is in my soul, because I'm not doing anything in this world in this moment. So the connection is with the reality which is beyond this life, the self of light. And this is what we have to look for, those connections and the disconnections from here. Let's look at some truths. We have said that the self doesn't fit into the body, and part of it is outside the body. This part of the self that is outside the body is what we call the higher self. And we know this from many spiritual paths. In India, it's called the Guru. And they say that the Guru is in your top chakra. I studied this through many spiritual investigations in many cultures. And they say that the Guru is on top of your head, and the feet of the Guru are on your top chakra. And this is what we're talking about. Let's talk about meditation now. In deep meditation states, you can experience things that are shared by many people, in which you feel the light, you see the light, you feel peace, you feel outside the body, you go through a tunnel and you see light outside the tunnel. Those experiences are the same ones as the ones people have when they go beyond this life. This is very interesting. I can tell you from my meditation that you can see light, and that light you see inside is your higher self. It's pure light, and when you connect inside with it, you have this experience, which is the same experience that people are having when they go beyond this life. And you are able to experience a great bliss when you meditate, a connection with a force that is just infinite force, that has an amazing feeling of sanctity that you cannot compare with anything. And I have experienced that personally, and I have felt an amazing peace that doesn't belong to this world, and I didn't want to come back. People in deep meditation states talk about these experiences, which is exactly the same experiences the other people were talking about. It is the experience of Satchitananda, the experience of the soul, consciousness, truth, and bliss, which happens beyond this lifetime. What do people say about the reconnection we're talking about? Experience we have in the seminar of spiritual reconnection. They say that when they come out of the initiation that we give in the seminar, they connect with inner lights. They say they don't want to come back. They feel very well, great state of peace. They see the inner light and experience outside the body, seeing the light of the self, precisely what people say in experiences beyond this life. So it means that there is a part of our self, consciousness, in other planes of consciousness, where these experiences are happening. So, whether you go there because you have an accident and you leave the body and then you come back, or you go there because you were going into deep meditation states, or because you do it through regressions, you can access to this experience, that joy, that bliss, and that light, which is totally unknown on this level. It means that we have proofs and several experiences from many people that are all reporting the same thing and the same reality beyond this life. So it means that it is there. It could be that 1, 2, 20 or 50 can coincide, but thousands and thousands of people through years of investigations tell about the same experience. It means that it is a reality. So we have this reality completely forgotten. We have to start thinking about it and trying to discover and experience it, because it's key to our life here. And we need to connect with that. In this life, we are in that separation from the natural state of freedom, peace, and joy, and that state is called, what else? A very specific state, which is called the state of amnesia, in which we are. We are in this state of amnesia. Here, amnesia of what we truly are, our divine consciousness. In amnesia, you forget who you are and why did you come here. And what happens when you come out of amnesia? You find connection. You find all the answers, and you realize that you are everywhere. The experience of unity, that you exist everywhere in unity, in oneness. Here I can talk about my personal experience. Some time ago I came out of that amnesia and I had the experience of oneness. It was a devastating experience for my personal history, but absolutely wonderful for my spiritual self. I found myself everywhere at the same time. It's not a nice idea. It is a powerful reality. I was so much everywhere at the same time that I was everywhere at the same time as I am here in my body. With the same intensity I was everywhere. Can you imagine that? It is not easy, but it is real. When I saw that I was everywhere, and also in my body, all my experience of life changed, because I realized that I had been in amnesia until that moment. And in that moment I was recovering my spiritual memory of who I was. That is very strong and very natural as well, because it is the essence that we all are. Every one of you is that state, whether you have experienced it or not. It's the state of all the souls. And if you have the opportunity to experience that thing, you will realize that you are everywhere at the same time. And what was amazing was to come out of amnesia and to realize who I was, and to realize that I was everywhere, and also I experienced an infinite joy, Satchitananda. An infinite bliss was with that state, because this state of joy is the natural state. We don't experience it because those layers of the personal history are covering who we truly are, and we don't realize we're being born in amnesia and ignorance. And what happens in amnesia? Drama. You are in drama. You forget who we are and you enter into drama. The soul, what it was, is to return to its experience of original self. Because that's what people are coming back saying, that they didn't want to come back. They were so happy in that place. There was another radio program that I heard a woman talking about this experience, that she gave her life. She wanted to give her life for her children when she was here. But when she had the experience beyond this life and she came back, she said she didn't want to come back even because of her children. So she was so well, she didn't want to come back for them. So those states of peace and bliss are there and are absolutely undescribable they don't exist on this level, are beyond this experience of this life. Even if you are on holidays and you feel very well, it has nothing to do, and they don't compare with the states of infinite bliss beyond this life. But you can access those states through this reconnection that we're talking about, that we're going to do this weekend. The soul wants to return to these states. This happens in the spiritual reconnection. Why are we talking about spiritual reconnection? Because we are disconnected from spirit. Those states of ourselves, which are beyond this life, are states of Satchitananda, truth, consciousness and bliss, and we are not experiencing them because we're disconnected from that part of our being. And we need to reconnect and re-experience those states. So when we come out into this experience, then we have the reconnection and we are experiencing the realities beyond this life. But what is the reconnection? It is the connection with Source, Universal Source, and with our Divine Self, with our higher self, our light self, whatever we call it, to have access again to that part, divine part of my consciousness. This happens through an energy and a vibration that has a violet color, and therefore we call it the violet light. This energy takes us out of the limited self, the reference of the limited self, to experience the self beyond this life. In reconnecting us, it takes us out of the limited self and brings us into the experience, original experience of the soul. Through that, we can experience the light of the higher planes and the consciousness beyond this life. This is what we call ascension. Ascension is to go up from my lower self down here to my higher self out there. My higher self. I connect with it and I remain in that state of connection. I have ascended because my higher self is in the fifth dimension or beyond. That's why we talk about ascension to the fifth dimension. When we ascend, we have another experience of reality because through that connection with the light we experience a different reality, completely different. We don't experience the reality from the limited self with its drama, which is what we have here, with its problems, its dramas, and the life circumstances. We experience a different reality up there, which is full reality, where we experience fullness, peace, and joy. And then we can live the life here with a different consciousness because we are reconnected with the higher self in that ascension. This means the movement from the physical body to a luminous state. You probably have heard of this, that we are moving from a physical body which is based in atoms to a body which is based in photons, particles of light. There's a vibrational change on Earth that is moving us from a photonic, moving us from an atom body to a photonic body, which is the light body. And then we're living into that state of consciousness. This is part of the ascension process. If I don't increase my vibration, I don't have 5D, I don't have connection, there is no ascension. There is what we have here. And you eat the drama every day the way you want, because it's very difficult to sustain this limited experience for a long time. That's why, because through several incarnations, the soul has reached a point where it says, I want to get out of this experience. I'm tired of living this limitation. I want to have higher experience. Greater peace, greater evolution, greater power, greater light. And in many ways, everybody's soul is looking for that expansion. The earth has reached this moment globally in humanity that everyone is looking for this higher experience, in which that love, power and joy has to expand individually and collectively on earth because we have to go beyond the state we have been living until now. So I have to increase my vibration. But how do I do it? The most direct way to do it is to connect myself with an energy of high vibration. If I want to increase my voltage, I connect myself with a higher voltage. Is that clear? It's very easy to understand that. If I want to increase the temperature of something, I put it on the fire. If I want to warm the water, heat the water up, I put it on a fire. And because that fire is more powerful in terms of heat, then the water gets hot. When you connect something to a greater potency, the energy goes up. So when I want to increase my vibration, I connect myself with a high source of vibration that allows me to elevate my vibration, and then that takes me to elevate my light. What does the violet light do in this reconnection? It elevates the vibration and connects you with your being of light, and therefore you access the purpose of your life. This is very important because when I go beyond the consciousness of my lower self, I reconnect with my higher self and I acquire the memory of my life mission. The higher self gets closer and then I can connect with it because of the reconnection. It gets you out of illusion, liberates you from karma, all this reconnection with the violet light. We experience another reality, some other dimension, some other dynamics. And we access to what is beyond this lifetime. So that is the quantum reconnection, because I have left behind, I've come out of the 3D reality of limitation and I'm accessing the 5D reality of oneness. I go to this universal experience through this reconnection. And you feel this, what we have said, the joy, the expansion, the unity with the being of light. In a very general way, it accelerates our evolutionary process. The violet light, scientifically, has the power to accelerate the process spiritually. And you go faster than the speed you're going now in terms of evolution. It liberates your karmas and resolves our situation of disconnection, taking us to the consciousness that we are not, taking us beyond the idea that we are a limited human to realize that we are a divine human, a divine being. Awakens us from the dream, taking the karma away. And when there is no drama, because we're out of it, what is there? Joy. That's why the people that have left this body and this life are having such a great time. Because when they go beyond, they find the natural joy that it is there in the levels that are beyond and above this level of consciousness. They come out of drama and they experience joy. Let's talk about the energy and vibration to understand this. So we see how the reconnection works. Every energy has a vibration of light that defines the level of power of that energy. That energy with that level of light gives us a spectrum of color that will manifest as different colors. So we can see that from the red to the violet, the colors are in vibrational order. The basic is the red, then you have orange, yellow, and then you reach the violet. If you think about the rainbow, it goes from the red to the violet, and they are in this vibrational order. If you go to the top chakra, you see that the color of the top chakra is violet and the base chakra color is red. This is telling you what is the vibration of every state of energy. And you see in that what is the highest vibration, because it goes towards the violet. Every energy creates a level of energy. Every energy creates a level of vibration. See, green is above orange. and blue is above green, if you have to choose one of these energies to activate your vibration, which one would you choose? The violet. Why? Because it has the highest vibration. So if I increase my vibration connecting to a source of high vibration, I'm more interested in connecting with the violet light vibration than with the red one, for instance, because it's much more powerful and it has a high vibration. You see, it's not casual. There is a reason why we want to connect with this high vibration. Let's see about this now. These energies are in creation. And there is light in the chakras. You can ask yourself, where does the light from the chakra come from? But the chakra is active or not active. A lot of people don't have the chakra very active. And there is not a lot of light coming through the chakras. So the more you open the chakra, more light and more consciousness you're going to have. And in the heart, for instance, the heart chakra is green. The throat is blue color. And the top chakra is violet color. It's a natural order. It is in the cosmos, this energy, and manifests in the individuals and in the physical plane. It is there even if you don't meditate. We'll get to that right now. But maybe you are very advanced. So we would choose to connect ourselves to the violet vibration. Isn't the violet a color associated with spiritual states historically? Religious, spiritual paths? Have you noticed that there is always a violet presence somewhere? In Easter, in church, the violet is the color, and that is the period of the resurrection of Jesus, which is the ascension of Jesus in consciousness. So there are many ways that this is used in spiritual terms. In the regressions, some authors have mentioned that according to the level of evolution of the soul has a different color. In that time between lives through the regressions, some investigations have shown different colors according to the evolution of the soul. And according to the evolution of the soul, it will show a color or another. And they have seen that the blue color and the violet color are the colors of the highest evolution souls, and that the souls with less evolution have white, yellow and orange colors. But the violet is the color of the highest evolution souls. And then we see that the age of Aquarius has a vibration, and the main vibration of the age of Aquarius is the violet, because we're talking about an age of evolution. And we talk about energies in cycles per second. This is a wave of energy, a picture of a wave of light. It's a slow wave. If you notice, the up and downs are relatively quite separated. That means it's a slow wave. Cycles per second, every time it goes up, down and up, it's a cycle per second. The important is how many cycles per second or per unit of time a wave does. If you have a wave that does 1 cycle per second before a wave that does 20 cycles per second, it is 20 times faster because it does 20 cycles in the same time. And here is when I can play with that. Because if I go on top of a wave that goes 1 cycle per second, or I go on a wave that does 20 cycles per second, I'm moving 20 times faster in my evolutionary process. If I have a life event, a destiny event as it is called, that is going to come to me in a moment in my future, and I go in my energy through a slow wave, it's going to take me, for instance, 40 years to get there. But if I increase my vibration, I start moving in a greater speed, like 20 or 40 cycles per second, I'm going to shorten the time for that great event to come into my life. Because if an event is going to take 40 years to come to my life, at the speed of vibration I go, and I go faster now because I increase my vibration, that event is going to come to my life in 20 years instead. So it's going to come to my life a lot faster. If I do 100 miles per hour, I'll spend an amount of time getting to a place. But if I go to 100 miles an hour, I'm going to get there a lot faster. You see, this wave, the peaks are a lot closer. You can see the space between the waves are a lot smaller. That means this is a violet wave of energy. You know, it goes a lot faster. It has more cycles per second. You see, these fast waves are all blue and violet. And this is the violet light. And what is important for me is to get connected with the violet light because it speeds up my evolution and all the processes in my life. I go a lot faster than if I go on a different vibrational wave. In terms of karma, I am going through karma a lot faster. I'm getting rid of karma. And I'm going into the states of spiritual connection a lot faster through these high vibration waves like the violet wave. And then I become free from this limiting experience and into spiritual enlightenment. Seeing this graph, that the length between the two peaks is bigger in the first wave and is smaller in the second wave. It has a greater energy. There is more vibration. This is what is important for me. If I would have found this when I was 10 years old, where would I be now? But we realize we need to deprogram ourselves because of the things we have in our heads and in our lives, which limit us, the understanding of things. And if we knew all this earlier on, we would be really far in our lives. Here, the left, you have a wave that says 110 hertz because the waves are measured in Earth, the vibration of the waves. The one on the right has 220, which is double. On the left down is 440 hertz, which is a lot faster, and the one at the bottom on the right has 880 hertz. So it's a lot faster than the wave you have at the beginning. And you see in the drawing that the cycles are a lot closer. The peaks are having less space in between them because it goes faster. You can see here in this image how different waves have different spaces between the peaks, between the cycles, and you see that towards the right, which is moving towards the violet color at the bottom, the cycles become more compact because the vibration has gone up and is hitting the violet color, as you see at the bottom. You see at the top it says microwave, infrared, visible, ultraviolet, and as it moves towards that, the wave is getting closer. And you see that the violet color coincides with the point where the peaks get closer to each other. And gamma ray, which is the highest frequency known in the universe. When you see gamma rays, they are violet.